Good morning, I'm Elisa Kaufman. I'm actually a nurse practitioner. I'm not a doctor, but thank you. I appreciate that. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you very much for having me. The purpose of my being here today and my goal is to speak a little bit about the practical applications of research and some of the challenges that we face in the small startup setting. I've been working in industry for over 25 years. I'm also a board-certified practitioner, and I continue to practice actively in emergency and trauma medicine. My interest is to share with you the experiences I've had working both in pharma, large pharma, and small startup settings. I started my career in a phase 1 clinic outside of New York, which was an interesting experience. And from there, moved to Massachusetts, where I worked for many years for Pharmaceutical, and have stayed there ever since in both very large pharma settings, Wyeth. Currently I'm at Shire, I'm a consultant there, but also in the very small startup, including a virtual startup where there was just 8 of us, 1 for each representative discipline, 25-person to 50-person organizations. And I think it's really important to understand that with all the great science that we have, and everything that we strive to do to bring therapeutics to patients in need, that everything is so dependent on process. And we can lose a lot and fail to take great science forward if we don't understand the best practices, approaches for how to deliver this great science through the process, through the regulations, through all of the challenges that we face in a startup of clinical programs and the execution of clinical programs, both at very small settings and even in larger settings. There's a certain understanding that we need to have that if we don't do this well, it doesn't matter how well your science, how good your science is, you will not deliver. And so there is really some, I think, ideologies that are important for us to embrace in terms of practical application for how we take this process forward through development. And I've seen with different companies just the internal workings of the organization really get in the way of actually carrying things forward. And it's incredibly disappointing because it doesn't matter how great something may look. If we can't get it through clinical trials, then we can't get it to patients in need. And I do appreciate that very much from a practitioner standpoint as well. For anybody else who also practices, you know, their impression of us is still not good in industry. They don't embrace what we do. They still perceive us very negatively, and I think that we can change that. I think that it's important for us to be more involved in patient advocacy, and work more closely. And I know the FDA is anxious to see us do that because, and it's a double-edged sword. It can be very tricky to get engaged with these groups because you don't want to promise too much and not be able to carry through. But they have a lot to offer. They have a lot to offer in terms of outcome, in terms of application, in terms of need. And I think this is something that we have to not forget as we're anxious to get our publications out there and, you know, and to get our landmark drug. If we are not hearing what patients are asking for and what they need, and we don't deliver that in a way that they're going to use, then again, we can have the best science, but you know, it just won't carry forward. So from a clinical standpoint, my goal here today is to talk about my experiences working from every level of both PK/PD studies to large phase 3 international programs, drugs that I've seen through NDA that I now prescribe to my patients, and talk about some case studies of challenges that I faced, how we overcame those, some challenges that we could not overcome, but certainly start to form an ideology and open the forum to everybody else to share thoughts and ideas for how we can do things better, cleaner, more efficiently, more cost efficiently, and also not to ever lose sight of our goal, which is to advance therapeutics for patients in need. So I am very, very privileged and honored to be here. I've not been in the best health this week, but I'm doing my best. I'm very happy to have made it. And I really look forward to hearing from all of you and working with all of you. So thank you very, very much for the opportunity.